85% of people with debt reports having mental health issues. We all have some sort of debt tucked away in our finances, but for some of us, it can get bigger than life. While we are getting better at opening up about our mental health issue, it's not so easy for everyone, especially men. 78% of reported suicides in the UK are of male, and I feel we don't talk about this enough. So in this video, I want to talk about how debt can spiral out of control and the ways we can come out of it. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Debt. Back of my mind, I always knew that there are a lot of people out there all around the world who struggles with debt. It is not a happy place to be in. I always knew that, but I've never actually thought about it in any meaningful way. But last week, while I was mindlessly scrolling over Facebook, my eyes caught this face of a crying man in his car. The person in the picture was Philip. Philip was in his early 30s, a single parent with 3 children. Philip took that picture right before taking his own life. And as he left, he only had £4.61 in his bank account, plus the £20,000 debt that he could not pay back. There was something about that picture and the pain in his eyes that really spoke to me. I am no famous person, and what I say or share won't reach thousands and thousands of people. But if all of us, every single one of us ordinary people, we start to think about it, understand it, and reach out to our friends and family, then who knows, maybe it can save a life. Before we discuss how to pay down debt, let's first try to understand the technicalities behind how debt can spiral out of control. Remember learning about compound versus simple interest back in school? Well, that's one part of our maths lesson that actually comes quite helpful and practical in our adult life. Compound interest is simply interest on interest. Say, for example, you took out £10,000 loan from a bank and you're required to pay £83 interest cost per month. You have to continue to pay that interest cost per month until you fulfill paying back your total loan amount. Say, for example, you missed out on paying that interest cost over a month. Do you think the bank will be okay with you to continue to pay the same amount of monthly interest cost going forward? No, not really. The bank will then start to charge you not only on your initial loan amount that you have taken out, but also on the missed amount of interest that you did not pay. So if the interest charge was 10%, then they will charge you 10% on the £83 that you missed out on payment. And that is the power of compounding. It can really increase a number quite drastically over time. Now, the second point to know about compound interest is how often is the interest being compounded. More frequently a bank compounds its interest rate, the higher the interest cost is going to be. Let's go back to our example again. Here I have shared the formula for calculating the total amount you have to pay back using compound interest, and also observe the bar chart that I have included. The bars vary by the number of times the interest rate is actually compounded. So we have £10,000 loan, say over 10 years that we have to pay back the loan by, and at an interest rate of 10%. If the bank compounds their interest monthly, then you will end up paying back in total £27,070 instead of £25,937 if the bank were to compound their interest annually. So effectively, the bank is charging you 10.47% in interest and not the 10% interest that they have initially quoted. Not understanding this before you take out a loan means you may be required to pay more in your interest cost than you have anticipated. And if the number of monthly payments keep increasing over time because you have missed out on a payment or two, then you may again feel the need to take on more debt in order to pay your old debt. It is such a classic first thought to have. And realize that through all these different variations, you're actually increasing the total amount of debt that you owe. So to summarize, here's the 3 ways that debt can spiral out of control. Firstly, if you miss out on a payment and the interest is compounded on the interest cost that you have missed out. Secondly is the frequency of compounding. If the frequency is higher, then you pay more interest. And finally is the amount of debt you have to take out extra because you feel you need to pay out on your old debt first. So now we can talk about how to actually go about paying down debt. There are 2 common strategies out there. One is called debt avalanche method, the other one is called debt snowball method. With the first method, you target to pay down the debt with the highest amount of interest cost first. So this is what you do. You make the minimum amount of debt payment to all other loans that you have, and the money that you save, you pay that extra towards the debt with the highest interest cost. This is the most cost-effective and timely way of actually reducing the amount of debt that you have. Compared to this, the second method, which is debt snowball, you target the debt with the smallest amount of monetary value. This is how it works. Again, you pay the minimum amount of debt payment in all your other loans, and the money that you have left behind, you pay towards the debt with the lowest amount of value. This method works amazingly well for people who need a lot of motivation and feeling of accomplishment when it comes down to paying down their debt. Here's what Dave Ramsey, a renowned financial expert, had to say about personal finance and debt. What I have learned is that personal finance is 20% head knowledge and 80% behavior. You need some quick wins to stay pumped enough to get out of debt completely, which is why he recommends this method. I didn't want to just leave you with the theories. Here's something you can start to do in practical terms to pay down your debt. Step 1, open a spreadsheet file or get some pen and paper. And step 2, do a template, something like I have in the screen here. I have used debt avalanche method to make this template. Try to make something similar for yourself that works. Follow it and track it. Having all your loan listed in one place can really boost your confidence and give you a sense of control over your debt. Now let's rewind back to why I am making this video in the first place, to talk about mental health. The truth of the matter is, not everyone is in the same situation to make that spreadsheet that I have just spoken about. It was easy for me to say because I'm not in their shoes. While I can talk about the technicalities and raise awareness about debt and mental health, for some people out there, all they need is some breathing space. Maybe it's not the amount of money that they have in debt that makes them feel helpless, but it's the fact that they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. It is the obligation and feeling trapped that really hits you. Or it could be the feel of shame that a father feels because he is unable to fulfill simple wishes of his kids. We are all human, but we are not on the same boat. Not all of us were raised with the same amount of financial education or have access to the same information. But here is the thing, it is okay to not be okay. And there is absolutely no shame in asking for help. You just never know when and how a help might get to you. As well as friends and family, there are some great charities out there like Step Change, who gives free financial advice on debt. And charities like Mind, they are there for you if you're struggling with anxieties and depression. Mental health issues like anxieties and depression, it could be something that you don't realize that you have. So don't hesitate to ask for help if you are not sure. Going back to the tragic outcome of Philip, know this: suicide is never, ever the answer for anything in life, really. So just like our physical health, our mental health also needs to be taken care of. And you know what? I truly believe that this world would become a much better place to live in if we can learn to share our pain as freely as we can share our happiness. And there is absolutely no shame in sharing the way that we feel. This goes especially to men. There would always be someone out there to listen. Before I go, I wanted to leave you with this. During this festive season, why don't we give a real gift to our friends and family by asking them whether they would rather have some money to pay towards a bill or a debt than giving them a fancy gift set?